Welcome back here to the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I'm here with the homie Kevin.
Hey, what's going on tonight, ladies and gents? Well, tonight we actually have a more fun episode locked and loaded. Or what I'm going to call more fun. Let me correct myself here. Because I love all of our work, but tonight is definitely going to be fresh.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. So, I think maybe a year or two ago, there was a Chris Rock movie that came out, and it was called Top 5 Dead or Alive, and I love the concept of that movie. It was referring to like the top 5 rappers of all time, or maybe the movie may have actually been about comedians, I don't remember. But it spawned a conversation about the top 5 rappers of all time, which of course sparks a huge conversation. So this podcast is going to be about who we think would be the top 5 rappers in superhero world.
Wait,
no,
what?
Not really.
I was getting confused. Like, oh, I'm not prepared for this.
I'm telling you, man, Captain America will spit the dopest verse of all time.
Dude, he's like the whitest person, man.
He is. He's the least suspecting. All right, he'd be right behind Luke Cage.
I mean, he's from Brooklyn, I guess. I don't know, Luke Cage. Especially if we got DMX Luke Cage, like we were talking about last week. Hell yeah.
And that actually brings me to another thing I want to talk about. Was I screwed up big time last week?
Oh, yes. Okay.
So the last podcast was about the Incredible Hulk. You know, we were talking about the Hulk and all the cool things about him in preparation for for his role in Thor Ragnarok and whatnot. And so we're talking about some of his previous films. And we mentioned the Incredible Hulk movie, the 2008 version came out with Edward Norton and William Hurt and Tim Roth and the gang. And I made mention to a fun fact that was only partially true. So let me correct myself now. First and foremost, I rewatched the movie recently, and it's a good thing. Because I don't know where the hell I got this from, but DMX was not in the movie at
what?
all. No.
Damn it, dude.
Yeah, no.
That made me so happy.
The
Cage gonna give it to you.
It still would have been amazing. I think maybe my mom wanted that so much, or either that or years ago someone put a rumor in my head that was it, but that was not it at all.
I've already mentally fabricated the scene in my head.
Yeah,
like I'm seeing him throw down.
I mean, unfortunately, it's not true. I mean, so let's petition for that. Maybe I'm kidding.
Exactly.
I like Mike Coulter as Luke Cage now. But anyway, the actor was Michael K. Williams, and he's played in some notable shows on HBO. But yeah, so that was the guy who played the cameo of the Harlem Bystander that many people rumored to be a cameo appearance of Luke Cage. So yeah, that was my bad. And as a result, you know, I was thinking maybe every week I'm going to say some crazy off the wall stupid information and try to pass it off as truth.
Well, you know, I love that idea. And just to let you know, I'm probably going to accidentally do some of the same stuff here, okay, guys? I'm pretty sure one of these weeks I'm going to have to come to you guys and say, guys, I'm sorry. I made a mistake last week. The Hulk is not blue. I promise you, you know?
Oh, jeez.
I know, right?
Oh, man. But yeah, you know, I know that the comic book community can be a feisty one at times. So let me go ahead and get ahead of the situation here and repel that statement that I made last week. So there's that.
Repelled.
Yep.
Official.
But tonight, though, like Kevin said, this podcast is going to be on our top 5 favorite superheroes of all time. And there's a couple of things I want to say first before we get started. One of those things being that this list isn't about who we think are the top 5 most powerful.
Thank you.
It's not the top 5 most popular. And it's not, you know, like the top 5, I don't know, most important characters. This is a list of our top 5 favorite comic book-based superheroes.
In other words, it's purely opinionated. We're not out there to slander, to offend, or whatever. You know, we're not saying Superman's not powerful if we don't mention him. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So, cool.
Yeah. And so, you know, like, there's so many superheroes out there. It's hard for us to pick just 5. But, yeah, what you're going to hear is our top 5. And we're not just going to say who our top 5 are, but we're going to explain to you why, you know, they made the list. And trust me, it was hard because there's a lot of superheroes that I really love that didn't make the list.
Yeah, no, understandable. I mean, I kind of had the same thought process. Like, okay, I really like this and this and this character for these reasons, but this guy, though, you know? So, right. I mean, it took me... How long ago did you make this? How long ago did this idea become a thing? It was a week ago.
It was about a week ago, yeah.
I was about to say, I've been thinking about it, like, all the time since then. Like,
right.
Oh, shit, what am I going to say?
Yeah.
It's like, at that point in mind, I had, like, 2 or 3 I knew, and then the rest were like, oh gosh, who deserves to be in this slot? You know,
yeah.
But
Oh man, so I guess let's go ahead and get started, man.
heck yeah, man.
Yeah, so,
Start us off, man. Give us your number 5, and I'll do my 5.
I would love to. And so, one thing about this that I'm really looking forward to here is just the, because I don't think that you're gonna expect some of these,
Right, and
who I'm listing off, and vice versa.
right. Actually, let me explain that if I may. So,
Yeah.
guys, Q and I have known each other for years, for over a decade at least, which in itself sounds very small in time frame. But either way, we've known each other for a long friggin' time. So we kind of expect a few things from each other because we've known each other for so long. But at the same time, this is a very fresh list for us. So this is also going to be like, wait, oh, that's a new addition. Okay. So we purposely did not share our top 5. Like, I have my information written down, he's got his, and we're coming at you fresh and organic with this, okay? All right.
Most definitely. So my number 5 here, and by the way, we're working our way, from 5 to 1.
It better not be the same thing.
It would be hilarious if we had the exact same list.
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm flipping this table.
My number 5 pick is none other than Highball himself, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. Okay. He's my number 5 pick, and there's a few reasons why. First, I'm not going to go all the way in depth with these characters and whatnot, but I do want to talk a little bit about them and a little bit about their backstories and whatnot. Just really quick, he was created by John Broome and none other than another one of my personal favorite creators, Bill Finger. So that's one really cool thing about Green Lanterns. They was created by the legendary Bill Finger, the guy who notably didn't get a whole lot of credit from his work in Batman. Also, some other creators were Jill Kane and Martin Nodell. So, obviously, Green Lantern, he's part of a special corps known as the Green Lantern Corps. And it's a special police unit, intergalactic space police unit, basically, where they go around and they police crime on like a universal scale, so to speak. And one really cool thing about the Green Lantern Corps is the fact that this was so different for the time, because the Green Lanterns, like they're different from the Justice League in the sense that they're not a group of different individuals who had to come together to fight this common foe, but like I said, they're more like a highly structured police force. Of course, they have the power rings, is what they use, and these power rings grant them the ability to create constructs from pure willpower. And that's what's required to become a Green Lantern is willpower. So for those that don't have high willpower, they have no chance to be a Green Lantern because that's a prerequisite to fulfill the role. Just really quick here about Hal Jordan and how he got this. So he was a test pilot for, I believe it was called Carroll Airlines, or not airlines. It's not an airplane company. He was a test pilot though for like military grade jets and whatnot. And so was his father, and he saw his father die in an unfortunate accident. And these are actually some of the few things that the movie got right. And I want to talk on that a little bit too later on real quick. But just back to his origin story here. So he saw his father die in a pretty tragic jet accident. But this man still went on to himself become a test pilot for this airline company. And it was one day, he was out and about, and he saw something crash land a little bit off in the distance. And so he goes off and sees what happened, and he sees this alien creature dying, and right outside of the space shuttle. And the creature tells him that his name is Abin Sur, and that he's part of an intergalactic police force known as the Green Lantern Corps. And that you have been chosen to fill my spot and become the next Green Lantern because I'm dying. And he gets the Green Lantern ring, and the ring kind of showed us him off to planet Oa, and is here where he learns a whole lot really quick here. So he's tasked with being a Green Lantern over the sector that, of course, covers Earth. And filling Abin Sur's position here. and he has to be trained and go through a lot of training by people like Kilowog and whatnot. And he's put with Sinestro, and that's his partner. Now, the really cool thing about the partnership here between Hal Jordan and Sinestro is that it's kind of like the movie Training Day. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
So it's like with Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington. Denzel is like Sinestro, and Ethan Hawke is like Hal Jordan here.
I love comparisons.
Yeah, because the similarities between the two properties are that Sinestro is extremely effective in his job. He's a really good Green Lantern, great actually, but it's the way that he goes about doing things that's just deplorable. And eventually, Hal Jordan he outs him, and he goes, "Hey, you're a dick. Like you're damn near a dictatorship, and you're hiding all these heinous acts and crimes from the Guardians of the universe, not to be confused with the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Guardians are the ones who." Of course, who watch over it and look at the Green Lantern Corps as a whole, and they also protect the main battery core as well. So just really quick, of course, some notable things about Green Lantern. One thing that I've always really enjoyed actually is his relationship with Batman. It's not good.
Really?
It's not good at all.
Really?
Not good at all.
Huh.
Those two are constantly kind of going at each other just because Hal Jordan is more of like a free-based type person who sometimes acts before he thinks. And a lot of the things he says just doesn't sit well with Batman, and of course Batman has no problem trying to put him in his place. So the two are constantly at each other's throats, and that's actually one thing I really love about Hal is his personality. I mean, because there's a lot of Green Lanterns out there that I could have chosen. Us being children of the 90s, it'd be easy to choose Jon Stewart because he was in the animated cartoon.
Yeah.
But my personal favorite is Hal Jordan. One, because out of all of them, I feel like he's the one that really has overcome fear the most. I feel that he's the one that has the most control over his willpower. And I feel like he's done the most for the Green Lantern Corps more than anyone, more than Jon Stewart or Kyle Rayner or any of the other Green Lanterns.
Okay.
And just really quick here, some of his villains, of course, Sinestro, being the first villain being the first one to have a yellow ring. He actually created that shit himself. That's pretty badass. Well, he didn't really create it himself, but he has some help from the people known as the Weaponers and the Negaverse type deal. Once he was cast out from the Green Lantern Corps, he was thrust into this place known as like the Nega world. And it was supposed to humble him because no one in this world likes the Green Lantern Corps. And him being a former Green Lantern, you think give him a lot of slack. But he turned it around because he, at this point, also hated the Green Lantern Corps. And so the Weaponers helped him create this ring.
That was not well thought out.
It was not well thought out.
Guys.
Yeah.
Come on, Guardians.
Yeah. Amon Sur is another villain I want to touch on just for a second. And Amon Sur is the son of Abin Sur. Of course, like I said earlier, Abin Sur is the one that Green Lantern or Hal Jordan got his ring from in the first place. So Amon Sur is the son of Abin Sur. And of course, you can pretty much guess his backstory here. He was super upset, pretty much, that his father's never home because he was part of the Green Lantern Corps. And he saw his. He didn't see his father die, but he knew that his father died and that Hal got the ring. And of course, he really just wanted revenge. And eventually, he joined the Sinestro Corps and did quite a few battles with Hal Jordan himself. And like, I really just love the arc of that character there because he has a reason for being the way that he is. And of course, it wouldn't be complete if I didn't mention Parallax, who is definitely I would consider the biggest and baddest of all the Green Lantern villains. I mean, even on like a cosmic comic book crossover scale. Parallax, of course, is the embodiment of fear itself, being so powerful that millions and millions of years ago that the Guardians had to encase him inside the Green Lantern Corps just to keep the villain at bay. Parallax doesn't technically have a physical body. Most times you see him, it looks like a giant evil cricket creature.
Cool.
Yeah. He looked nothing like the rolling turd of a creature that was in the movie. Parallax is, like I said, the embodiment of fear. At one point, he even possessed Hal Jordan, and then that was a dark period in comics. Coast City, which was just Hal's hometown, got destroyed by Mongol, and it pretty much drove Hal crazy. And it was revealed later on that he was actually possessed by Parallax, and he killed almost an entire Green Lantern Corps when he was possessed with the creature. And then, of course, he was unpossessed. A lot of other things happened. He became the Spectre, and then a lot of it should happen. But eventually, not just himself, but the entire Justice League, and then pretty much everyone in the DC universe had to do battle with Parallax in order to beat this creature. So I'm going to wrap this up here on Green Lantern, but man, I just really enjoy the character. I enjoy that it's a space opera. I enjoy that it's like a police group, because that's something that we really don't see a lot in comic books.
Right, it's creative. It's new.
Super creative.
Or it was, yeah.
I love his powers, and the thing about me is that in most cases, like I enjoy characters more than I enjoy superpowers, and Hal Jordan, he's both a character and really cool superpowers. I feel that Hal Jordan, like I said, is the best of all the Green Lanterns, and he has definitely earned his way on my top 5 list. So, yeah. Do you have any other questions, comments about Hal?
No, I'm good, man. You went into a good bit of detail there, so that you definitely covered any questions I would have had there. Cool. Comfortably so, you know.
Awesome.
Though I must admit, the animated Green Lantern was still cool, too. I liked him, too. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, my number 5, and I probably won't go into as much detail, though I do still want to talk about him a good bit here. My number 5 is the Punisher, actually.
Ooh.
Yes, indeed. Now, I know that might be a risky pick, because this is our top 5 heroes, and he's technically just the Punisher, you know? I'm not going to call him a hero, I'm not going to call him a villain, you know, but as you were just saying, the one thing that, and I know you know this about me, Q, guys, I know you guys are about to hear this, I adore a good, strong character, you know, that's really what I look for in someone that I'm going to be a fan of, someone that I want to follow and read about, constantly. The Punisher, honestly, to me, even as a kid, he was fascinating to me because he was dark, he was different. He wasn't your, dun-dun-dun, let me come and be a big old source of embodied light and try to be this, do-gooder everything and all this BS. He was the guy who said, nah, screw you guys, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to shoot you in the head, and I'm going to like doing it, The Punisher was created by a Jerry Conway, John Romita Sr., and Ross Andrew. Final answer.
Okay, there we go.
Andrew, yes. I don't remember when he was created. Like, what? Do you have any idea on that? Like, when, you think?
The Punisher?
Yeah.
I mean,
how long ago was that?
I don't know. I feel like it had to be shortly after the Vietnam era, because I feel like that's when his first comic run really took place, was him coming home from Vietnam.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say,
so I want to say like the late 60s, maybe early 70s.
Okay. I do know this, though. I didn't start reading the comics until after I saw the performance by Thomas Jane as a kid, because that movie, The Punisher with Thomas Jane, not the other Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. Lundgren, excuse me. That one was
it was Ivan Drago from Rocky IV. Same actor,
yeah. Yeah, true, but I'm good.
Yeah.
I like the Thomas Jane version.
Yeah.
After seeing that at a younger age, I was very just enthralled in the idea of who the Punisher was and what he stood for, really. And honestly, the one thing that really inspired me about him was the fact that he was just a dude. He was just a smart, well-trained dude. Like, there was no superpower bestowed upon him. There was no, hey, here's this weird accidental thing that all of a sudden gave you superpowers, and now you have this extra ability above that of man. No, you're just a dude with a bunch of guns. Yeah. And respectively, you get enough gunpowder behind one person, then, that's kind of a power in of itself.
Yeah.
Especially teamed with the knowledge which he gained, our boy Frank Castle, a.k.a. the Punisher, as an FBI agent, Now, the fun thing about him that I love how other heroes actually debate whether or not he's a psychopath.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If you ask Captain America, Cap definitely thinks he's a psychopath.
Which will be ironic here in about 30 minutes. But, yeah, no, I remember in the Civil War run, and Cap very much was like, okay, you're on my side, but I'm keeping an eye on you. And then it's like, what did you do, Frank Castle?
Yeah, he went and he immediately killed, like, 2 supervillains who wanted to join Cap's side in the Civil War. And Cap was like, what the shit, man? Like,
exactly.
I just told you. And then Captain America proceeded to beat the crap out of Punisher.
Right.
And Punisher just took it willingly. Because
he didn't regret it.
Yeah, Captain America was like a hero to him. I mean, even though they're so vastly different.
And, that makes great sense, too. Actually, speaking about the he just took it bit right there, I do want to go into an interesting factoid, which further develops the interest in this character that I have. So, I learned about Ghost Rider, and one of his powers that they don't really advertise often is his stare of remorse. Now, what Ghost Rider can do, people, is he can look into the eyes of a criminal, and, they stare back in his sockets because the guy doesn't have eyes. And he can make them feel and relive all the horrible things that they regret, all the things that they remorse. And it affects everyone, every criminal, every person that he's done this thing to has felt to this and has, relived all this woe and all this misery and all this pain and anguish that they caused, except for Frank Castle. He used it on Frank Castle, and he was just like, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
Translation, he has no remorse. He could give 2 shits how many criminals he's killed. He knows he's cool with it.
So let me ask you this. Do you think the Punisher is a psychopath?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
But that's what I love about him. It's dark. It's someone that went crazy trying to do the right thing, And, piss. There was this awesome quote. I love it to death. It's, I used it recently in a not recently, but it was in a conversation Q and I had outside of the mics.
You mean about if you kill a murderer, then there's still equal
No. That was a more recent conversation. Yeah, no. Though, admittedly, Frank Castle's killed a lot of murderers, so that...
Well, he's killed a lot of murderers, but not just murderers, pedophiles, thieves, mob bosses.
Yep.
He just... That man
He's
just
gone
loves
to town. Oh, boy, here he goes killing again. There's an Easter egg for you guys.
Oh, man. So what do you think about the upcoming Punisher series?
Dude, are you kidding me? I loved John Bernthal's representation of the Punisher. Oh my gosh. Dude, you have no idea. Okay, so... I'm a part-time student currently here, and this past semester, during that time, I actually remember YouTubing the scene in the courtroom in the Netflix series of Daredevil, where the Punisher is just like, you think you're going to make me regret this? You think you're going to make me wish I hadn't done it? Well, I'm happy I did it. Oh my gosh.
John Bernthal, he completely owned that role.
Yes, he really does. I cannot wait for this series.
Oh, dude. Yeah. November 7th, I think, is the date.
What?
So, yeah.
What? Oh, shit, dude.
I'm pretty sure it's the 7th. 7th or 17th. I think it's the 7th, though.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to dive into that so hard. I'm going to be giddy.
Yeah. I don't know if this is on your list or not, so I don't want to chip ahead of you at all. But,
okay.
Let
me cover my list here.
Your list. I'm sorry.
You're good.
But what do you think about Punisher donning the War Machine suit and then making it his own?
Dude, you can't give it to him. No.
I mean, he has it now.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah.
Is that in the current comics?
Oh, yeah.
Guys, I'm not caught up in the current comics at all, so heaven forbid I don't know something here. But what?
Mm-hmm.
Shit, dude, that's too much power. Oh, my gosh.
Like,
the Punisher machine? He's going to tear some shit up. Like, entire buildings of criminals are just going to fall down and crash, and he's just going to be like, good day's work.
Good day's work. I don't know. I haven't actually read the comic series myself, so I don't know why he has it or who gave it to him.
Like, why would you do that? You know what you're doing, right? You just, destroyed a town's population by 50% at least. Oh, my gosh. But, admittedly, yes, I do have a soft spot for the Punisher, and I will happily watch him in Netflix. I will happily watch him as War Machine killing some shit, and I will, I will hope and pray that they do, if years happen and they do another Punisher movie, I will happily watch it, hoping it is, good and not...
not Punisher Warzone or the Dolph Lundgren version.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But yeah, that's my number 5, man. I'll go ahead and move to my number 4 here, continue up the list. So, respectively, and I have my own reasons for this, ladies and gentlemen, so don't you dare judge me. But
I got my skeptical judging face on right now.
No, you don't. I'm gonna poke you. No, you put that down. He was about to lift his nose up, which
indicating that I'm looking down at you.
Exactly. And no. I always have to like pull the finger away, like no. But okay, my number 4, guys, let's just get into it, is Daredevil. Freaking Matt Murdock himself, dude. Now, I have a couple reasons for this. I'm sure you can think of one. And I'm shamelessly going to say it. I make a mean Daredevil cosplay. All right, guys? Okay, pause this real quick. Go onto Netflix. Watch like the first 20 or so minutes of Daredevil Season 1, Episode 1, where he's wearing that kick-ass black homemade costume.
He wears stuff like the entire first season.
Exactly. So go into any episodes, really. I just don't know how long it'll take for you to get to his costume in all the episodes. I don't know. But I wore that to a Comic-Con, and I was the shit, dude. I was the best Daredevil there. It was good.
Oh, man. We met Charlie Cox that day, and Kevin became a 12-year-old schoolgirl.
It was amazing. He's British, guys.
Shout out to Charlie Cox.
I know, right?
Extremely low chance that you're listening to this.
And I know you don't remember us. He did also compliment my facial hair, which I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, he said that, oh, yeah, you have the same facial hair.
Yeah, because
Charlie was a cool guy.
He really is. He actually autographed, I had, the 2 batons I homemade from like a broomstick or something, spray painted black and sanded down a little bit after spray painting, or I'm sorry, before spray painting. And more importantly, he actually signed one of them, and I got Elodie Young, the actress who plays Elektra, to sign the other one. And so, hell yes.
Hell yeah.
I have collectible pieces of broom.
Oh yeah, that was at Chicago Con 2016.
Yep.
And that was actually on my birthday.
Yeah.
That we met those guys.
Oh yeah. It was a damn good day.
It was a damn good day.
He almost got Elodie's number.
I tried so hard.
He did.
I tried my damnedest. It didn't happen though. But
like she almost sounded like she was saying yes.
I gave her something to autograph. I don't remember what. And she said, "Is there anything else I can sign for you?" And I said, "You can put your phone number on the back." With the most confidence that I could muster, my best smile, pecs are jumping.
Yeah.
And
as he flexes his pecs.
And she takes the pen, flips the paper over, puts her hand to the paper, and at this point, I'm having an outer body experience because I can't believe like this is about to happen.
My mouth is gapped open right now, just like, oh shit, he's getting it.
And then she drops the news that she has a boyfriend, which I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm going to convince myself that it's true.
It's got to be.
To keep my confidence intact.
It's freaking Elodie Young.
But yeah, sometimes you only get one shot at certain things, so why not go all the way?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, continue.
Well, oh, yes. Let me go into a more serious phase here. So yes, obviously Daredevil, not just because I make a sick cosplay of Daredevil, which... looking back on it now, definitely wasn't hard to do. In fact, I have to give a shout out to this kid because I don't know if he'll listen eventually. I hope he will. But someone actually helped me put the cosplay together, and I essentially borrowed like the entirety of the outfit from him except the weapons. I made the weapons, and a shout out to you, pal. You know who you are. But no, Daredevil. Honestly, I just love really the development of his character. Like he was. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm doing this without trying to look it up or anything. But he was injured as a child, lost his sight, and then eventually was able to control the senses that he gained from the same accident. Am I correct?
Right, yeah. He had some kind of chemicals splashed into his face, and it took him some time to hone in those the abilities that it gave him, so to speak. Like I mean, I guess he has what I would call like a second sight. He doesn't really have his physical sight anymore, but it's more like a reverberation of like the sounds around him that creates like a sonic echo of things that he can see. Kind of, and so in a way, can he see? Yes and no. Mostly no. Kind of yes.
I mean, if you watch the Netflix series carefully, it feels like he can see. Sometimes he'll see better than other people because of his second sight.
Well, it's more like he can hear, and then when he hears, he can kind of focus in on wherever the noise is coming from.
Yeah.
And then kind of, I guess, reflect noise and kind of make out what's going on.
Right. I mean, that's exactly what the second sight is. It's based on hearing.
Yeah. It's like he says. It's like the world is on fire when he sees. That's what he said. Yeah.
I remember that quote actually. Yeah. I mean, honestly, the performance by Charlie Cox in that is outstanding. He does a great Daredevil. The choreography, the personality, really, of Matt Murdock. He does good. And just character-wise of who Matt Murdock is and how he basically just tries to help out such a dark and messed up part of the world that he's in, Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's persevering, and you gotta respect that, because heaven knows he could break and just be like, all right, no, the hell with this. I'm done.
Right.
Especially since he's freaking blind.
Yeah, he's one of the few superheroes that tries to fight crime in and out of costume, because he's a lawyer by day, and obviously a crime-fighting vigilante by night. And one thing I really enjoy about Daredevil myself, if you don't mind me intervening,
yeah, no, please do,
is like the fact that he, because I read a lot of Daredevil too, because I really come to appreciate those graphic novels also. And I really enjoy the fact that he's not out trying to save the world. In every issue, it's not like he's trying to stop Thanos or Mandarin or some other world breaker type enemy.
Right.
But it's street level things that affect people on a personal level. Like your drug dealers or your crime bosses, things like that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
it's just more relatable, and it can make for even more gritty thing to read or watch.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, especially the Netflix series. It's very just real in a sense, but it's also that grit. It's also that darker side that you don't see in a Disney comic movie.
Right. So do you have the abilities of Matt Murdock on there?
Well, I mean, we talked about the second sight,
Yeah.
Also, we did not mention his training because, of course, such a complicated ability, I'm going to call it, needs a type of honing in, a type of, conditioning, really. And, of course, you can't talk about Matt Murdock's training without the one and only Stick. Friggin' love Stick, dude.
I forget the name of the actor who plays him in the show. It's Scott something, but this actor is a tremendous actor. He's also in The Leftovers. If you guys haven't seen The Leftovers, then after this podcast, load up your HBO accounts and then watch that show. That's an amazing show. But back to Daredevil.
Oh, dang it. You're telling people...
What?
Dang it. No, what the...
Okay.
I was looking up the Stick actor,
and
you were saying something about going to see, the leftovers afterwards. And I typed in the Stick afterwards, and it didn't pull up anything.
It shouldn't.
eBay came up with a stick I could buy. But no, the actor's name is Theodore Scott Glenn.
Scott Glenn, that's what it is. Yeah.
But yeah, no, he does it well, dude. I mean, he is a down to earth, no shit at all dude, And he has the same type of sense that Daredevil has. Thus, he was able to train him in that. Plus, Scott Glenn's character, the Stick, had like a very complicated past himself, what with an organization called The Hand. If you're at all familiar with the Netflix series, you know how badass and how much of a ninja force of power they are. So he learned those ninja skills and thus taught them to Daredevil, our boy Matt Murdock. And so Matt Murdock is, the devil of Hell's Kitchen. Right. Kicking ass and ninja things.
And of course, for those who maybe haven't seen the show, aren't that familiar with the character, right. Of course, Matt Murdock's dad was battling Jack Murdock, a boxer who was maybe a little bit past his prime. He was hired by a mob boss to throw a fight, And he wanted his son to look at him with pride just one time. And even though Matt Murdock always admired his father really never felt that. And so in that moment, Matt Murdock's father, battling Jack, he decided not to throw the fight, and he knocked the guy out, the guy that was supposed to win. And as a result, the mob boss had him killed, and that was really also a part of the evolution of Matt Murdock to Daredevil. But yeah, man, Daredevil's he's a great pick.
Thank you. Indeed. I like him.
Yeah. We ready to move on?
Oh yeah, man. What's your 4?
My number 4 is none other than Spawn.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah. I see we both kind of chose like a...
We did. We chose like a vigilante. Because, Spawn, he's a good guy, but he's a good guy that, he does things.
We're going to have to retitle this episode. Our top 5 favorite heroes / vigilante types.
Well, the way I look at it, like a vigilante or an anti-hero is just is a hero that does bad guy things to bad people. So that's the way I look at it.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'm glad we're not holding ourselves too strictly to heroes alone, because...
Oh, if like, for example, Punisher, if we read a Punisher comic book, he's the protagonist, he's not the antagonist.
Sure. Yeah.
Same thing with all these people on here, so I think that they can definitely be put under the umbrella of hero for namesake. That Spawn was created in May of 1992 under Image Comics. The creator is the great Todd McFarlane. McFarlane, of course, is also known for the original drawing of the symbiote suit in the Spider-Man universe. Spawn, here's a little known fact about myself. Spawn was actually the very first comic book that I collected.
Oh
yeah. So,
I did not know that.
Yeah. So he's held very near and dear. I've always really enjoyed the story because, like, even as a child reading those comics, I knew that, man, this is something that's different and dark, and I loved it. So just a brief backstory here on Spawn. His name is Al Simmons, and he was a CIA operative, and he did a lot of notable things to rise through the ranks and get noticed. One thing he did was he saved the president's life from assassination, and that's pretty badass.
That would do it.
Oh, yeah.
That's a gold resume star.
Yeah. He was eventually ranked up to the CIA rank known as the Force Recon, is what it was called. And it was there that he noticed that a lot of things going on were immorally wrong and corrupt and deplorable, and he couldn't stand for it. And by this time, he had done a lot of immoral things himself, but he didn't want to be that person anymore. He kind of wanted to clean the place up, because like he just wouldn't do a lot of those dirty things anymore, like killing innocent people or women and children and things of that nature. And there was a man by the name of Jason Wynn, and he was the director of like all the heavy duty security of the United States. So you name a highly regarded police force, and Jason Wynn was over it. And he hired a man by the name of Bruce Stinson, I think was his name, if I remember the TV show correct, or the comic books. But anyways, he hired Bruce to kill Al Simmons. And the reason why that was such a blow was because that was one of Al's friends and his partner. And
wait a minute, he killed Al Simmons, and that was Al's friend?
Yeah, Bruce was Al's friend.
Right, okay, thank you. Okay,
so
cool.
Bruce was hired by this higher-up Jason Wynn to kill the man who eventually becomes Spawn. And, he could have been a spectacular fashion. Bruce didn't see it coming. He got set ablaze by his own friend and burnt to death.
Shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's spectacular. That's painful, dude. Shit.
Yeah. So, reviewing all this brought back a lot of memories, and it made me ask myself, how much money would it take for Kevin to try to kill me? And I need to step my game up as far as protection. So, I'm watching you.
I'd never try to kill you. I dropped my knife.
So, anyways, he when he dies, spoiler alert, he goes to hell. because once again, he himself did some pretty unsavory things in life.
I guess you could call him a hell spawn.
Oh, not yet.
No. I was trying to make a pun.
Yeah. Yep.
Anywho.
Pun denied. But yeah, he's cast down to hell, and it's here where he encounters one of the most powerful demons in the hell realm, known as Malbogia. Now, Malbogia, of course, like I said, is really higher up, and Malbogia, he's over the hell spawn army, so to speak. And his plan is to take his army and build it up, and eventually battle heaven and take over heaven. So the devils will rule heaven and hell. And he makes an offer to Al, and he says, I will grant you the opportunity to see your wife, Wanda, one last time. But to do so, you have to sell me your soul. You have to give me your soul. And a grief-stricken Al said, yeah, I'll do anything to see my wife again. And Malbogia said, so be it. And approximately 5 years passed, okay? And Al wakes up in a he wakes up again. He's like in a slum alley type place, and his memories all distorted. He doesn't really quite remember much of anything but bits and pieces, and it starts to come back to him all slowly. And at this point, he's extremely hideous to look at. I mean, he's extremely hideous. Just burns and all over his body, and like he's not a pretty sight.
I was about to say,
yeah.
We'll get T.J. Miller to come and ad-lib descriptive manners again. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah. And so after he's burned to death, he finds out that his wife actually married his best friend.
What a dick.
Yeah. and they had a little girl together. They had a child together. And that's when you realize that a lot of time has passed by, because like, shit, man, my old lady married my best friend. So I mean, if I ever get married, also, and then if Kevin kills me, I have to make sure that he doesn't also marry my wife. So I got my eye on you, even though the man that killed him was a different man than that married his wife.
Right.
Yeah.
I was about to say, that's a real dick move.
That would be a super dick move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I hope I don't get the stare of remorse. Piss. All right.
But yeah, shortly after this encounter, he's encountered by a person known as the Clown. Shout out to John Leguizamo for that portrayal in the Spawn movie, because I really enjoyed that. And also Michael J. White, who played Spawn in the movie. To this day, I still can't think of a better actor to play Spawn again, like just hiring Michael J. White to do it again. But anyways, he encounters the Clown, and as well, I won't say that yet. But he encounters the Clown, what he's known as. He's like the short, fat, just rude ass clown.
I remember seeing him. Yeah.
Who equally taunts him, and sometimes does it to motivate him, and sometimes just does it to taunt him. And the Clown actually works for Malbogia, and his whole deal is he personally trains and prepares the new hell spawns so that they be ready to wage his war on heaven. And eventually Spawn gets tired of his shit, and they try to do battle, and this whole thing at first just deployed by the Clown to awaken the first metamorphosis in Al. And that's when the necroplasm becomes the deal. He gets the symbiote-like suit and material, and he becomes what is known as Spawn, because he is a hell spawn, like you said earlier. He's an agent of hell now. But to make this long story short, he does battle with the Clown again. The Clown is known as the Violator, who is another evil, sick, and demented-looking creature. And the only way that he can be killed is if he's decapitated by either a hell spawn or an angel. And eventually, Spawn does decapitate him. Spawn's abilities are sick and badass. So the suit grants him a number of abilities. He has with the suit he's nearly invulnerable. He has a healing factor that can heal him almost instantly. He has, of course, super strength, durability, speed. He has teleportation, camouflage if he wants to, invisibility at times. He can even, they already say he can shapeshift, because he can also shapeshift.
No, you didn't say that, but now you have.
He can do
yes.
all of those abilities on top of his chains as well, the chains he used to cut at and hold down and restrain enemies, and all of those abilities. In fact, and also with the fact that his abilities he had while he was alive. Like when he was alive, of course, he has extensive gun training. So at times, especially in the beginning, he loved using guns.
Right. So I'm familiar.
Yeah, he's an expert hand-to-hand combatant, and he's just an all-around badass. And instead, what he does, he is one of the few Hellspawn to betray Malbosia, and Malbosia makes it a point to try to put Spawn back in his place, and that becomes a big sticking point throughout the comic series, obviously. So just real quick, some notable villains that he does battle with. One is Overkill. He was the first villain that I saw him face in the comic books, and I did not like this guy because he beat the hell out of Spawn. Overkill, he's like a cyborg assassin. He was hired by a certain mob boss to kill Spawn, and so like I said, he's this huge, hulking, cybernetic guy who has a lot of bells and whistles on him. And it took a while, but Spawn was finally able to get the upper hand and defeat that guy.
That's good. Now, I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
I'm going to interject here. So, in my images of Spawn that I conjure up in my mind, and also with... I'm familiar with the movie. I'm familiar with an appearance that Spawn made in a random Soul Calibur game, which I did not expect at all. What is the deal with these spiked red weight-looking things that he wears on one foot and one arm? Do you know anything? Like, what's the deal with that? Is he Goku training half of his body?
I don't think they're not really weights per se. They're
right, but that's just kind of what they look like. What are those?
I mean, they're just part of the Hellspawn outfit, and actually, eventually, during another part of his metamorphosis, he sheds that, and it just becomes like sheds all the red on him.
Okay,
essentially.
Cool. Okay,
yeah,
just curious.
As he becomes more in tune with the necroplasm.
Okay, I didn't know if that was like a cool, almost defensive measure he could use in the middle of a fight or something, or like here's a spiked big old piece of armor to bash your face in or something, you know.
Spawn as an entity is he's both an offensive and defensive thing as a whole. Like, he's super badass.
Yeah.
And I hear that Todd McFarlane is actually working on another Spawn movie, and I hope so. I cannot wait.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, just to rattle off here a few more notable villains and cool moments. Angela is another one, and she is a warrior angel, hence the name Angela. And she was created by, if I remember right, God used 5 pure souls formed together to birth this angel. And her entire purpose is to hunt down and kill Hellspawn, and she's really damn good at it. Fortunately, she wasn't able to ever best out boy Spawn, but she tried to eventually. I think the two eventually ended up working together, and she was eventually killed by Malbosia, though. So, unfortunately, but she was a really cool character. Another really cool character is Anti-Spawn, or the Redeemer, and this was Heaven's version of the Hellspawn.
Creative.
They were like, if we want to do battle with Spawn, then let's create something on the equivalent of the Hellspawn. And there were 3 in the comics, but the one I'm most familiar with is Jason Wynn, who's the same guy who hired for Spawn to be killed in the first place. He receives one of these anti-Spawn suits, or symbiote, so to speak, and it's made of the heavenly equivalent of necroplasm. The problem is he's in constant pain because he's not really pure of heart.
Right.
So he's not really equipped to have it, but they know that he has a grudge with this particular Spawn. And so that was a really cool moment. And of course, there's Malbosia, who's the Hell Demon, and one of the most notable villains is one I already mentioned, but the Violator himself, the Clown. So yeah, if you're looking for something new and gritty that maybe you haven't read yet, I'm sure that all of your listeners have heard of Spawn. You can go on Amazon and just pick up some graphic novels of his, and they're great, definitely. So, cool. I really love Spawn because he works on a different level than most superheroes do.
Yeah.
At first he's taking down like street level thugs and criminals of that nature, And then he has to work his way up, and he's fighting other things as well. And I love the whole story of rebellion and how he's trying to redeem himself. He's trying to change. He knows what he is now, but he's going to use his newfound abilities and powers to try to change things for the better. And Hellspawn is awesome. Go read it. Any other questions or comments you had about?
No, I asked my one. I wanted to go ahead and jam it in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's see. And that's your number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I guess I'll go ahead and go into my number 3 here. Metaphorical drum roll, please. There we go.
There you go. That was the laziest drum roll I could have ever done with my tongue. That was a tongue roll.
My number 3 is none other than King T'Challa himself, Black Panther.
Ah, cool.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Black Panther made his very first appearance in Fantastic Four issue 52 back in July 1966. And he's created by Stan Lee and, of course, drawn by Jack Kirby, that famous Marvel duo.
Yeah.
So, a little bit about Black Panther. Of course, he's from the fictional African nation known as Wakanda. And the story of T'Challa is really a cool one. It's a kingly one. And the thing about T'Challa is that he grew up, of course, under the rule of his father, King T'Chaka, and his mother died during childbirth, and I think his stepmom, something happened with her, but she wasn't really around either. But the trial he takes to become a Black Panther is that he has to complete a series of trials, and if he succeeds in completing the trial, then he gets to partake of a heart-shaped herb. And this thing is really important because this is what grants him his superpowers. It's the heart-shaped herb. And now the reason why this plant gives him superpowers is because thousands of years ago, where Wakanda is, a meteorite landed and hit Wakanda, and the meteorite, like some of the material and nutrients from the meteorite seeped into the soil, and it fed this heart-shaped herb. And that meteorite that landed was vibranium. And so yeah, that's why vibranium was in Wakanda, because a meteorite landed there.
Yep.
And once he completed the trials and he partook of the heart-shaped herb, that gave him his super strength, his agility, his speed, his durability, and that put him on par with people like Captain America.
That's some good herb.
Oh yeah, some good herb. Yeah. Most definitely.
Oh my!
I would like to have some of that herb.
You and me both. Ooh-wee.
Yeah. But
Cool.
some of the things I like about Black Panther is his sense of justice, so to speak. He's a kingly man, and he handles himself as such. He loves taking care of his people, and whenever he can, he does often go over to America or wherever he needs to go to often work with the Avengers and help those guys out.
Right.
Let's see here. Another notable fact about him. He is the very first African-American mainstream hero ever. So that's definitely another great fact, man. Like, he's the first.
Now, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
What's the name of the actor who portrayed him recently in Civil War?
Chadwick Boseman.
I was about to say, he did an amazing job, honestly.
Most definitely.
Before the movie, I'm not going to try to profess or even lie to people by saying I'm familiar with the character, because in all aspects, not as well as I would like to be. But I gotta say, he still did an amazing job, and I cannot wait for the Black Panther movie itself to come out.
Yeah.
That's going to be good.
Most definitely. I hope you don't mind sitting in a theater full of black people, because that's what it's going to be. That is what it's going to be.
It's okay. I'm going to love every minute of it.
Yeah, yes, sir. Marvel is doing something for the culture, and it's going to be great. Like I'm personally giddy about the Black Panther movie, and I want to get into that a little bit later also. But while we're on the subject of Civil War, Black Panther to me was the best thing about the movie. Most people say,
"Wait, not Spider-Man?" I'm joking.
Spider-Man did his thing, and the airport scene was really fun to watch. To me, the plot was garbage. I'm sure we'll get into that another time.
We'll have to now. Damn.
Yeah. We will most definitely get into it. Please email me if you have any questions as to why the plot is garbage in Civil War. But definitely, Black Panther was the greatest thing. Everything about him in that movie was amazing. And once again, Chadwick Boseman was just an amazing entry in the Marvel series as a Black Panther. Some notable facts about him. When he was a teenager, he discovered and fell in love with a young lady named Aurora Monroe, aka Storm, in the X-Men. However, the relationship, it didn't work out, mostly because he was more focused on avenging his father, who, spoiler alert, was killed. And so their relationship kind of fizzled out. But the two were running into each other back and forth over the years. And his father being killed leads me right into some of his notable villains. Oh, wait, one more thing. Obviously, Black Panther has a suit made out of vibranium.
A kick-ass suit.
And utilities made
with
out of
panther claws.
And utilities also made out of vibranium. And so on top of his superpowers that are on the same level as Captain America, he has a suit. And what vibranium is it absorbs and reflects a lot of kinetic energy. So the reason why Captain America's shield bounces all over the place is the reason why T'Challa doesn't take a lot of damage when he's wearing the Black Panther suit. You have to really hit him hard, you know. And so yeah, that's another really awesome thing about the Black Panther is his entire suit is a weapon and a defense. But one of the most notable villains is Ulysses Claw. Andy Serkis is playing him in the movies. He was in Age of Ultron.
Right.
And he's coming back for the Black Panther movie.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay.
At least, he's coming back. And
I was about to say, in the movie, it kind of felt like he played a very short role. You know, like
yeah,
it felt downplayed to what the character is.
You know, in the movie, you know, he was slightly tweaked, but Andy Serkis still did a really good job with the character.
Oh no, he really did. Yeah.
And in the movie, in Age of Ultron, as you remember, he said or did something to piss Ultron off, and Ultron crushed his hand, which is why he's missing a hand in the movie. However, in the comics, it's slightly different. In the movie, he was also an arms dealer. But in the comics is also slightly different. In the comics, he's a physicist, specifically dealing with like sonic applications, so things dealing with sound waves and whatnot. And he discovers Wakanda. It would be like a white menace. He discovers something that already existed. Kidding,
quote unquote.
Kidding,
kind of like El Dorado or something. Yeah. Damn.
But yeah, he finds Wakanda and he wants the vibranium because he knows that it'll help him create his sonic emitter, something he's been trying to create for a while. He knows that it'll help further his research. And he goes in and he tries to take it, and as a result, he kills King T'Chaka in cold blood. And T'Challa, there to see his father's death, you know, is enraged, and he uses one of Ulysses Claw's sonic weapons and shatters his right hand with it. And that's why that's why Claw's missing his hand in the mainstream comics. Yeah,
very cool. Yeah. Very different from the movie by far.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that actually leads to like another notable villain of his. What was it? Eric Killmonger. Oh, duh. Eric Killmonger is another really big and notable Black Panther villain. He's being played by Michael B. Jordan in the Black Panther movie. And there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Have you seen the Black Panther trailers?
Not recently, though I did watch one. Yeah.
Jeez, Kev, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Anyways, so if you've seen Michael B. Jordan in the Black Panther trailer, he's playing the role of Eric Killmonger. And now his whole role is when he was a child, his name was actually like what was his name? I have it here. Oh yeah, Jadaka was his name and was his family name. And he actually grew up in Wakanda. Now the thing what happened with him though was that his father was forced to help Ulysses Claw mine the vibranium. And as a result, he was exiled by the then alive King T'Chaka. And so his family was exiled. Killmonger's family was exiled. He moved to New York and his father's also killed in the process as well.
Okay.
And so he moved to New York, and he changed his name to Eric Killmonger because he didn't want any association with anything from Wakanda. And it was there he got super smart. He got like several PhDs, and he trained his mind and body as well to kind of become like a weapon. And he never really forgave the Wakandan king T'Chaka, and so now that T'Chaka was dead, he wanted to take his anger out on T'Challa, and so eventually he devises a plan. He goes back to Wakanda, and while he's at Wakanda, his plan is to play nice and to play civil and all that, and he's accepted back into the community by T'Challa.
Right.
And because at this point Black Panther is back and forth from Wakanda and America a lot, so he's not really there a lot. It's there that he lets loose with this plan to sack and take over Wakanda, and he actually succeeds. Yeah, when Black Panther comes back, the two do battle, and it's a really intense fight because Eric Killmonger, he's no slouch when it comes to physical combat. And he's also a master tactician as well. Now, one notable thing about the trailer, I guess a slight spoiler alert for you, since you haven't seen the second trailer, is Eric Killmonger. He has a suit in the movie that's similar to Black Panther's, and they're referring to it as the Golden Jaguar. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. I'm not going to lie, it confused me a little bit when I saw the trailer because I was like, maybe I'm not as up on my Black Panther as I thought I was, because I don't remember a Golden Jaguar in the comics ever. And I did, I looked online and tried to see what I can find. And come to find out, I don't think I'm crazy. I think that this is an invention by Marvel.
Okay.
And Marvel Comics, the Marvel comic universe has this pattern where they love to have doppelgangers of their heroes.
Oh, of course, yeah.
We have Iron Man and Ironmonger. We have, of course, Captain America, Red Skull. That one's, kind of similar.
Hulk, Red Hulk.
Well, no, in the movies we have Hulk and Abomination.
Oh, okay. In the movies, yeah. Okay.
And here we have Black Panther and Golden Jaguar. But even still, like, to me, like, that really doesn't bother me a whole lot. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it may bother some people, but not me. I'm still really looking forward to the movie.
It does make it for an interesting plot,
Yeah.
Something that.
I think maybe they're thinking that that in viewers' eyes, if he doesn't have a suit similar, then Black Panther should win easily. I don't know if that's what they're thinking, but
I mean, I'm sure someone had that thought. Yeah.
I mean, but even still, that really doesn't bother me that much. And also in the movie is the character Man-Ape. We also see him in the trailer as well. I don't know the actor that plays him though, but even still, it looks good. Just really quick, Man-Ape, his whole deal is that he's a hulking Hulk of a man, so to speak, not the Hulk. But so his origin is actually really cool too. So what happened with Man Beast? His real name is M'Baku. And so M'Baku and T'Challa, they kind of grew up together, so to speak. And then it comes the day of the trial where they're going to pick the eventual new Black Panther and ruler of Wakanda.
Right.
And so they go through the trials, and T'Challa he's not Man Beast yet, but he gets the better of M'Baku. And M'Baku is super upset at the fact he can't get over it. So he flees and he goes to like the white gorilla cult is what it's called. And because these people who worship kind of the white gorillas that are in the area.
Right.
And the way he gets his powers, because his powers are also really similar to T'Challa's, but he has a greater strength than Black Panther does.
Sounds like he would.
Yeah. He bathes in the blood of the white gorillas and he eats of their flesh to get his powers. Okay. And thus he becomes Man-Ape, and he comes back with a bone to pick also with T'Challa. So actually, Ulysses Claw, Eric Killmonger, and Man-Beast, I believe all three are going to be in the Black Panther movie. So there's going to be a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, for real.
But
the clash of the different colored animals. Yeah.
But yeah, Black Panther, I love him, one, for what he represents, especially for, black people in comic books. Wakanda is a highly technological place, and that alone speaks volumes. T'Challa, he's such a great king and a ruler, but he's also such a great fighter and warrior as well. He's super smart. Like, he's not just a powerful warrior and a king, but he's extremely intelligent on top of that. And I really think that he just creates in my opinion, he's the greatest of all the black superheroes that we could possibly have in this day and age. And I can't wait to see the Marvel movie. I'm putting a lot of faith in this, and so are black people all across the world. Black Panther's kick ass. And that's what I have for him.
Okay, cool. Okay, that was number 3 still, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay. My number 3, actually, we've said his name already a few times tonight. I'm a big Captain America fan. Yeah. I've always been a fan of the Boy Scouts of the Marvel Universe, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I love what he stands for. I love his simple but motivational backstory, really. And, for those who have watched the movie, they got it pretty spot on, actually, He was the wimpiest kid, He was he was the strength of the lot back in the day. Good old Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah.
Man, old school Brooklyn, too. Great setting, actually. The movie did a great job with it. The comics, obviously, they do a good job of it, too. But yeah, no, he was just a wimpy kid trying to do the right thing for the country, just trying to go and do what he knew was right. And I loved the headstrong personality that he had. I loved the sense of morality that he carried with him as well. But then, of course, he gets the friggin' lottery ticket in the military and gets granted the super soldier serum. Excuse me, forgot my alliteration practice there. But no, we're familiar with what that did to him. Of course, he turns into the super buff, not even wimpy anymore. Hard to believe he ever was that after looking at Captain America and the most popular image of him. But Steve Rogers then became the ultimate soldier, the badass that wore red, white, and blue, basically donning the flag in a sense. Yep. Which is ironic because if you look in the Constitution, it's illegal to wear the flag. So. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another debate for another podcast.
That is not our topic, ladies and gentlemen. We are not tackling that. Yeah. But no, it's definitely all inspiring to me to see someone who was the definition of the underdog, who is constantly belittled and beaten up upon and just drugged through the dirt, really, and who now, is a very loose symbol for patriotism, for the country. Yeah. For some awesome stuff in comic books,
Right.
What? Well, okay.
Oh,
no,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead, man. No.
Just really quick, I want to say that, at the time, Captain America definitely meant a lot to the country for a couple of reasons. Number one, Captain America, like, if you ever get lost as an American and don't really know what's right or what's wrong, just look at Captain America because he embodies exactly what an American should be. Someone who helps anyone, regardless of their creed, nationality, or race. Someone who's a symbol for all things justice, for hope and bravery. That's what Captain America embodied, and that's what he's supposed to represent. That's what he does represent. And also, he was created at a time where like the morale in the country was way low because of the war.
Yeah.
And so he was a symbol for for comic book readers and for people to look to as as a symbol of hope. Because at the time, we were going to war, and and so they create this character. Was he created in the beginning?
He's a Jack Kirby baby. Yeah. Oh, I thought that's what you're about to ask. Okay.
Oh no, I was going to say, was he created in the beginning for probably propaganda purposes? Maybe, sure, but it was a good thing that worked out for the better, in my opinion.
No, it really did. Actually, interesting factoid on same topic but different branch. So. Ladies and gents of the audience, if you do somehow, some way come across a comic book with Captain America and a picture of Hitler or a swastika, that book is worth more. Literally, it is worth more money because it is not only a piece of comic book property, but it is also propaganda. And it literally has more monetary value. So, just a little factoid. If you do have a little dusty case of comic books that, I guess for our listeners, it'd be a lot of granddads and possibly fathers out there that have been collecting the books. Because those are old.
Well, a lot of the listeners may collect also.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not going to say no to that, but for sure. I mean, that old piece of propaganda book that came out when your granddaddy was fighting the good war, that is going to be worth some good money.
I'm going to have to go through the collection now and see what's there.
Yeah, man. But yeah, and then going from Captain America from the comics to the movies, I mean, Chris Evans does a great job. Yep. You know, I'm glad they switched him over from being the friggin' Human Torch. Yeah. Because it was a good trade up to make for him. He does a great job of the character. He looks the part. He's sounding the part. Plus, the shield works for him, you know?
Yeah.
It is a badass shield.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, like, I jokingly and sometimes not so jokingly give the MCU a lot of flack for their movies. But one thing that the Marvel Cinematic Universe definitely does right is their casting. They rarely miscast a role, and it's no different with Chris Evans.
Yeah. No, he's definitely good. I mean, he does bring some more solidarity to the rumor, if your name is Chris and you're a pilot, then you're going to die in a Marvel movie. But
he wasn't even a pilot. He was just piloting.
He was piloting a plane, true, but he still, went under, I'll say. Because he didn't die. He was cryogenically frozen.
I don't remember what's exactly, but that didn't quite happen like that in the comics.
No, in the comics, he was actually frozen. Like, legitimately so.
He was frozen, but not due to a...
Not due to a plane crash with a Tesseract. No. Yeah.
I mean, I knew not the Tesseract, but
definitely not that.
I don't think it was a plane.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, listeners, feel free to leave some feedback for us too. Give us some love, but no, I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case. I'm pretty sure it was literally cryogenic frozen type thing. You know, Futurama style. Yeah. But no copyrights intended. But no, Captain America, man, he's always been another force for me to look up to. You know that idea of morality still stands out to me. Definitely an opposing light from one of my earlier picks being Punisher, you know. Yeah. Plus, I am envious of Captain America's Super Soldier Serum. For those who don't know this...
I think everyone is.
I mean, for those who know what the heck it is, hell yeah, they should be envious. I mean, damn.
Yeah. And for reasons still unknown, I believe, like, no one's been able to replicate it yet. Like, once the serum was kind of destroyed and lost to time, people have tried to replicate it, but with not so good results.
I was about to say, I think some people have. I thought the Russians actually replicated it, and I thought a future version of Black Widow actually had the Super Soldier Serum.
Maybe a different version, but no one's had the same version as Captain America. Like Red Skull had a version of it.
He had an effed up version.
Yeah, a really effed up version of it. Yeah. Kind of drove him crazy a little bit. He was already kind of crazy.
Melted a face or two, you know.
Actually, I don't remember how... Jeez, I'm trying to remember. How did Johann Schmidt, that's Red Skull's name.
Schmidt.
Yep, Johann Schmidt. I don't remember how he got that permanent Red Skull, actually.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up or something. Again, leave feedback if you want to. But no, Captain America is definitely my number 3 by far. And again, I'm envious of the ability. I didn't say this earlier. So, one factoid about the Super Soldier Serum, not only does it give him accelerated strength and also, you know, friggin' kick-ass ability to just be agile as all get out, but he also does not develop lactic acid, if I remember correctly, which means that, you know, in the sense of the whole physicality terms, he doesn't get sore. He goes to the gym. He lifts shit. He beats people up afterwards. He breaks a couple punching bags, no problem. He doesn't get sore.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure he still feels pain, of course, because, you know, we see that, you know, but he doesn't like, oh, man, I had leg day the other day, and let me tell you, my thighs are killing. No, he doesn't do it. And I love that power. I would love to have that.
Truth be told, I don't even think he has to lift weights.
No, he doesn't. Yeah. He just punches shit because, hey, look, I like this punching bag. I'm going to take out some of my Brooklyn-style anger on it, you know? Yeah. No, he definitely kicks ass. I'm going to move on my number 2, but I'm not going to spend more than a few seconds on him because I'm going to leave him to you. This is one of the ones I know you have on your list, damn it.
Here we go.
All right, my number 2, I'm finally leaving the Marvel universe for a minute, guys. I'm going to go into the DC realm here, which, for those who know me and for those who are learning of me, There's a lot of DC that I do like and I do respect. I do happen to have a lot more fandom for the Marvel, but don't let that come across as a bias, please. I do enjoy both. Both storylines, both movies, series. You get my point, people. DC's Batman is my number 2. He is freaking kick-ass, dude. And I'm going to talk about him for a little bit, I've decided. I'm going to let my boy here tackle him a lot more. Because if you looked around our sound studio, you'd think he had an affair with Bruce Wayne, you know?
Maybe I do.
Shit. That's all I got. But, I mean, hopefully we all know who Batman is. If you don't, please stop listening and go freaking watch a Batman movie, go read some Batman comics, and then you're welcome. Simply put, hammer down, enough said. Because Batman's story is friggin' awesome, dude. I mean, he was well written, he was well made, and he was definitely something totally different from the time frame of when he was made, you know, related to the idea of what a superhero was. He was one of the DC originals.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of the top 3 DC bad boys, you know. The DC originals, for those who aren't aware, are Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Those are the 3 staples that made DC Comics. You know, they were all made relatively close to each other within the years, I'd imagine.
Superman was created in 1938. Batman was 1939. Wonder Woman, I'm not sure. I think actually maybe Flash may have come before her.
Yeah?
I can't confirm.
I was about to say.
I can't confirm.
Okay. I thought I read somewhere that Wonder Woman was 3rd. I'm not confident on that, though.
Hey, maybe. Yeah.
Well, shit. I'm putting her in the top 3 because, you know, she is a powerful woman.
Yeah. Those three are definitely the top 3 staples of DC Comics, though.
Oh, yeah.
They formed the Trinity. Yep.
Yeah. But no, I mean, of those 3, Batman's definitely like the dark and mysterious entity, the one that doesn't, you know, reflect your typical superhero type. Awesome backstory, awesome training, just literally, there's nothing about Batman to not like, you know? And sure, people can debate all they want, and people can, you know, love or hate the movies however they wish to do so, but either way, no one can say he is not kick-ass. Now, again, I'm going to leave that more so to my boy here. But, yeah, that's my number 2.
Let me ask you this.
What's up? Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
No,
but,
please don't.
Do you have a favorite Batman story? And so, what is it?
Oh, man. It's one of the newer ones, actually. And it keeps reflecting on my mind. It's a graphic novel that you allowed me to borrow. It was from the DC New 52 universe, actually, which I don't read a lot of the newer comics, but that is one I definitely had to pick up, and I had to read it twice when you let me borrow it, actually. It was the one, I don't remember the name. It was...
Court of Owls?
No. Though that was also kicks ass. Oh my gosh, that kicked so much ass. Kicked so many owl feather asses. Damn. Freaking zombie ninjas. Like, what the shit? How do you get away with that? That's so cool. But, you got me off on a tangent here. No, I'm thinking more about the arc where the Joker came back. What was it called? It was another Death in the Family?
Endgame. It was
Endgame.
I'm sorry, no, Endgame was the end of it. It was Death of the Family.
Yes, thank you. I knew it was a play on the original A Death in the Family.
Yeah.
But Death of the Family, where the Joker came back and he had to, like, staple his face on it. It was some crazy effed up shit. Like,
that was good.
Oh my gosh. That story was awesome to me. And the ending of that is so discomforting, really.
It's discomfort. It's equally discomforting as it is riveting.
Now, wait, I just realized I'm talking about the ending to a story a lot of people may not have read, so I'm not going to spoil it. But it's definitely one you need to go read. It is, oh my gosh, like, it really shows a depravity and just another dark side to an already great villain.
Yeah, you know, and not to, once again, not to spoil the ending to the Death of the Family arc, but one thing that I really love and that really comes to mind is of course, the very infamous, very famous novel, The Killing Joke.
Yes.
Where at the end of The Killing Joke, Batman tries to have a candid conversation with Joker, and he says something along the lines of, "You and I don't have to do this. If we continue on this route, we're going to fight until we're both dead." He says something along those lines.
Right.
And that really rings once you read Death of the Family. Not to spoil anything, not saying that anyone necessarily dies, but it's a great ending to a great arc. And, I love how things maybe inadvertently come full circle.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's all I'm going to leave on that. I'm going to give you the rest on purpose here because I know you have a lot of love and information to share about our boy here. But what is your number 2?
You don't even know if he's on my list. You don't know that.
Please, son. Please.
You don't know me.
I know you.
Wait, am I supposed to give my number? I think you're supposed to give your number 2.
No, that was my number 2, Batman. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is one who you probably know a lot about.
Oh, shit. Damn it, did we do this?
James Logan Howlett.
Frickin' we did this. All right.
Yes. Oh man, none other than our boy Wolverine. And when I say Wolverine, I don't mean X-23, Laura Kinney, or Dakin. I mean.
No, we mean damn Hugh frickin' Jackman Wolverine, represented by James. No, wait, Hugh Jackman was the actor. James Howlett. Damn it.
There you go.
You knew what I'm saying. The frickin' awesome badass.
So, with Wolverine, we all know a lot about him, and it's just a matter of time before I'm sure eventually we're going to do podcasts on all of these heroes individually. It's just a matter of time and when, to be honest. And it's no different with Wolverine. I don't want to dwell too long on his backstory, simply because we're going to do a podcast on him eventually, and also his podcast is so goddamn convoluted.
Okay.
It is. But with that being said, there is one aspect, one part of that I did want to touch on. As I was doing my research on him and trying to refresh my memory, I remembered his past being really convoluted, both in and out of the comics. And I also remember thinking there's one thing I really want to clear up. And I was hoping to clear that up, but I really didn't. So I'm hoping that by saying this out loud, I'm going to clear it up, and I also am going to explain, obviously, why Wolverine is my number 2 pick on my top 5 favorites of all time. Okay, so he was born in Alberta, Canada, in the late 1880s, to rich farm owners. In the 1880s, farm owning was the job to have. You had that money, got to get the most blinged out carriage, or
Yes. History teachers listening in are just like, what? No.
His parents were John and Elizabeth Howlett. His mother was not really bedridden, but she didn't do a whole lot because she had some mental illness problems, and that'll come back into play. And his father was a kind man, well-to-do man, and treated James well. There was also a groundskeeper as well. His name was forgot his name. Luckily I have it written down here. Yeah, Thomas Logan, that's right. That was the name of the groundskeeper. And the reason that's important is because, come to find out, allegedly little James was not the son of John Howlett at all, but he was the illegitimate child of the groundskeeper Thomas Logan. And what's also interesting about this, and this is where things quickly start to get convoluted because it's been retconned and changed a couple times here. Okay, so I'm going to say this out loud and try to make it make sense. and please, listeners, if you know better than I do, please send us information. So Thomas had a son whose name was simply Dog Logan. Yeah, and Dog Logan, along with an orphan girl named Rose, they all kind of became a trio, so to speak. They were really inseparable. Rose was really taken in by the Howlett family to help little James because James was sick a lot. My personal theory on why he was so sick as a child is maybe because his mutation was taking place and his body had to overcome,
That's what I choose to believe, honestly. Yeah.
And so the three are really good friends. But Dog, he was beaten a lot by his father Thomas, because he didn't want his son hanging out with all those upper class people. He thought that his son should know the struggle, so to speak. And poor Dog got beaten and abused a lot by his father Thomas, and as a result, it really changed the psyche of Dog. And one day, Dog, his advances towards Rose were unwarranted, and she shut him down, and Dog got his feelings hurt, and he tried to sexually assault Rose, and James came along and stopped it, and of course that just made Dog even angrier. Dog eventually came back and killed James's actual dog. Yeah, and so that was also uncalled for as well. And eventually, Thomas and Dog, they were kicked out of the Howlett property because of alleged sexual abuse, so as well as other things. Thomas comes back, and he spills the beans, about Logan.
Right, about
purportedly, about James, being
right.
his son, allegedly, and at that point, he and John, James's, stepfather, they get into a bit of an argument, a confrontation, and Thomas has a shotgun. He shoots John, kills poor John, and James comes in just in time to see that. And in a fit of rage, his mutation finally begins to further develop, at least his bone claws. His bone claws emerge from the back of his hand. He runs in, attacks, and kills Thomas. And he slashes Dog's face also, which is why if you ever see Dog Logan, he doesn't make a lot of appearance in the comics now. If you ever see his face has 3 claw marks on it. You can guess where that came from.
Yep.
And he flees. Rose flees after him. So like when the authorities arrive, the only person there to take notes is Dog. And Dog, he blames it all on Rose and James. And also it doesn't stop there. So of course, John Howlett is shot by Thomas. Thomas is killed by Logan. Or not Logan, but James, who later becomes known as Logan. And his mother, who is already mentally ill and fragile, she takes Thomas's shotgun and she kills herself. Yeah, so that's a happy family story for everyone. Now, the question that has been on comic readers' minds for years is Dog Logan actually Victor Creed? Are the two one and the same? Is Sabretooth and Dog Logan the same person? They both have similar builds, similar hair color, and a similar hate for our boy Wolverine. Now, I don't want to go too much more into the backstory, because then things get more convoluted with Rose accidentally being killed by Logan when Dog comes to intervene and all other kinds of stuff. Right. But I just want to touch on that part of the backstory here, like the very, very beginning for Wolverine. Because, of course, if you're going by the comics chronologically, then his first appearance is, of course, in Hulk issue 180, full appearance in Hulk issue 181, where he and the Hulk do battle with Wendigo and with each other. But a lot of shit happens before we see him in Hulk issue 180. Yep. From the character aspect. So of course, Wolverine is one of the most popular comic book characters ever. He's known for having the adamantium claws. Right. Of course, the adamantium is a damn near unbreakable material that can damn near slash through anything when sharpened and cooled. Wolverine also, because of his natural mutations, he has, of course, the bone claws. He has an extensive healing factor, which also slows down his aging by a lot. He has keen animal senses and also agility, as well as an acute strength attribute as well. Wolverine is one of the most popular characters, even though it didn't start off that way. Once he was finally brought into the X-Men, things started to pick up for him and the X-Men, and he became one of the most beloved badasses today. Even though he only stands at like 5'3" tall in the comics, he's a little badass. But that's also another attribute of the Wolverine. The Wolverine is a small but vicious animal, and so is James Logan Howlett. He is a small but vicious animal.
Right.
I mean, I could go on personally for days and days talking about the feats of Wolverine, but I have a keen suspicion that maybe, just maybe, he's on Kevin's list. So I'm not gonna go too much further into the character of Wolverine, but just know that he is a super beloved character. Shout out to Len Wein. He actually recently passed, about a month ago, actually, the head creator of Wolverine.
I did not hear about that.
Yeah. Yep. A guy you mentioned earlier, Ray Romita, he actually, I think was the first person to draw Wolverine.
Okay.
Len Wein was the person that actually helped create the character, though.
I wonder how he did the hair, because I've seen Wolverine's hair interpreted in tons of different ways.
Well, when he first drew him, you didn't really see his hair.
Oh, true.
Because he had the mask with the whiskers on it, and actually at first, the claws were just a part of the gloves and not actually. Yeah. Thankfully, that was quickly
for real.
retconned. But yeah, Wolverine. Just to wrap up my personal take on Wolverine. I have a great love for this character because he's been through so much, but his whole thing is redemption. Similar to that of Spawn. Like he's a person who can easily be misconstrued as a bad guy, but depending on your perception of the character. But he's always trying to do better and improve upon himself. The movie Logan takes flack sometimes because it's not really based off the graphic novel Old Man Logan. But one thing that is nailed and that I appreciate more than the story relativity is the fact that they nailed down the character of Logan. The fact that he's a torn and broken character who's trying to recover, who's trying to find greater purpose in life, and who's trying to give back when he realizes he's taking so much. And that's just one of the many things I really love about the character. It's not the fact that he's a badass fighter, but it's the fact that he always tries to find a way to overcome, and he's one who has to constantly face his demons and look them in the eyes and say, fuck you, Bob. But yeah,
not exact wording.
It may be. I wouldn't put it past him.
In certain cases, probably. Yeah.
But Wolverine, aka Logan, or aka James Howlett, is definitely my number 2 pick.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. All right. I'm just going to read off my honorable mentions real quick.
Please.
And then, we can ping pong it back. I'll do my number 1, the surprise that it will be, and your number 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Let's do that. All right. So,
your number 1 or your number 3? Or are yours in any kind of order?
No, these are just honorable mentions. Okay. I'm just going to mention mine. I'm not going to go into them in great detail.
Yeah.
We've covered quite a lot of detail, I feel like. So I'm just, at this point, going to give attention to the ones that deserve the attention, definitely. Right. In my mind, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So one of my honorable mentions, Charles Xavier. I mean, it's hard to think of the Marvel Universe as a fan who professes to know much about the Marvel Universe. It's hard to look at it and not pay your due respect to the mind of Charles Xavier, because his mind is literally one of the most powerful things these comics have ever seen, and I gotta pay respect to the actual character. The power doesn't get to his head, no pun intended, pun totally intended. He's a source of good. He's a source of, all right, come to me for refuge. I will take care of you in my big-ass mansion that I made tons of money to go buy, Come live with me on my property. It was awesome. Reading about him in the comics at younger ages was fascinating, because even then he had a grip on the power he had as a psychic, knowing, it was his, responsibility, really, in order to either do good and great things or to manipulate. And luckily, he chose the latter. Another Winter Soldier, I cannot say no to a badass metal arm. I'm sorry. If you have a buff metal arm on you and you're just a badass sniper, gunman, demolitionist, then yes, you are on my team. Thumbs up. Let's go play. Winter Soldier is an honorable mention for one, because I already had Captain America on my list. I can't have two, similars like that on my list. I feel like it's almost domineering, I'll say. I will say this, though. I also debated putting him on my honorable mentions, even. Because, when we first see Winter Soldier, he's not a good guy, you know.
When we first see him in the comics, by the way, in my opinion, he and Jason Todd are the two best examples of comic heroes that have died and were supposed to stay dead, but they came back way better than they were before.
Good point.
James Buchanan Barnes, I love that guy. But even in the Winter Soldier graphic novel that came out, I want to say it was around that great run of comics, like around 2004 or 5.
Okay,
that was a phenomenal graphic novel, because it was a really different one for Captain America at the time, one that really grounded him and brought him back down to earth. But yeah, Winter Soldier's awesome. And
then my last honorable mention, I'll bring up the Hulk. We already talked about him a lot last week. I am a believer of Hulkism. Yes, friggin' awesome, dude. How can you say no to a power source that is based off of anger? The simplicity of that, yet the complexity behind it as well, honestly, is something that makes for an entertaining read, and also for the entertaining watching just in the movies alone. Oh crap, he's getting pissed. Oh man, he's getting super angry. Oh no, he's enraged. That it makes me happy to see the destruction he causes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Really quick, my honorable mentions, ones who almost made the list. First of all, is Ororo Munroe, Storm. She is personally, she's arguably my favorite X-Men. I love her, and I love what she was able to overcome to become the woman that she is. The way that she carries herself as that of a goddess. Of course, Storm, she has the power to control and manipulate the weather and even amplify it at times.
Right.
And she's able to overcome her fears. At times when Scott Summers isn't available, she will undoubtedly take charge of the X-Men and lead them to victory the way she thinks should be led. People look up to her and admire her. She's a great mentor in the comics. She's equally gentle and fierce all at the same time. And that's one thing I really enjoy about the character Storm. And plus, man, like I said, her powers is really freaking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Second on my list is a character by the name of Walter Kovacs. And I'm pretty sure that you guys recognize him as none other than Rorschach from The Watchmen. I love that character because he's equal part Jason Todd and equal parts Punisher. Like he's no doubt a psychopath, but he's a psychopath who tries to fight for good. The Watchmen comic series as a whole is definitely more grounded, with the exception of Dr. Manhattan. I love Rorschach because he, even though he is mentally unstable, this man is extremely gifted and talented in what he does. He's an expert detective. He can deduce things really quickly and easily. He does have a pretty high level intellect, despite his mental illnesses. He is a skilled gymnast. He's just an overall badass. He's a good hand-to-hand combatant as well. Rorschach is an amazing hero. Well, I don't know if we're to call him a hero, but he's an amazing character in the Watchmen universe. And he had a rough childhood or background, so to say. And he's overcome that in his own way to become what I believe a Watchmen favorite. Secondly, that was my second pick. And number 3 is none other than Superman. Superman made my honorable mentions list. And fortunately, the character has come a long way, because I did not really enjoy the character for the longest time, mostly because what creativity or what fun or entertainment is there in reading about a guy who's basically a god? If the only way I can hope to stop you is with a radiated green piece of rock from your home planet, what are my chances to stop you? What is riveting about you? What's entertaining about Superman? Like, why should I care about a character that has a laundry list of powers? Why should I care about a character who virtually can't be killed? Why should I care about you?
Right.
And fortunately, they were able to remedy that. I feel like throughout the 80s and 90s, it was, to me personally, his first run. Even with the Death of Superman arc, a lot of people really enjoyed that arc. I look at it as just a power play to kind of boost their sales because nothing was happening at DC at the time other than Batman. And the thing that really helped me come around to Superman was the New 52, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this one as well, the Henry Cavill and the Man of Steel. Those are things that really helped bring the character around to me. A lot of people actually say that they don't like Henry Cavill's performance as Superman because they say that it's all Superman and no Clark Kent. I say I couldn't disagree further. In the newer versions of Superman in both the comic books and the movies, the thing I really enjoy about this character is the fact that he has a more human aspect to him. The fact that he knows who he is in the sense that he knows he's an alien and he knows he's a Kryptonian, that he's not human, but he has to figure out his purpose in life. Like, what's his meaning? What is he supposed to do? And I can't think of any more relatable human trait than trying to figure your way out in this crazy life. I also enjoy the fact that along his way, he's trying to figure himself out, and that his greatest enemy is essentially himself, and that he has a lot of moral questions to answer. One thing that people dislike about the ending of Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman is the fact that they put him in realistic situations. You know, if these other Kryptonian warriors attack, what's going to happen? Well, there's going to be casualties. People, I hate to break it to you. That's a reality of the matter, and this man has to deal with that reality every single day. Should he have killed Zod? Obviously, the obvious answer is yes, but still, that's something that he has to deal with, because even though he's an alien, he grew up as a human. He grew up with humble parents who tried their best to teach him right from wrong. Thankfully, they did. And unfortunately, in both the movies and the comics, Superman powers have seemingly been a little dwarfed, which they desperately needed to do. Because a hero that can do everything is just no fun to read or watch.
Right.
But yeah, so Superman is my last honorable mention. And yeah, let's go into our number one picks, man.
Okay, well, number one for me real quick, definitely Wolverine. And as talked about before...
Say it isn't so. Wolverine,
I know, right?
what?
Yeah, I know, right? No, definitely Wolverine hits the spot for me. Growing up, he was one of the first superheroes that really got me into superheroes, to be honest. He was always... one, he's short, and I'm short. I'm not 5'2" short, but damn. Nah, I've always enjoyed reading about him. I've always enjoyed just really the boldness and the personality behind Wolverine. The I could give two shits type stuff. Because no matter what situation, no matter what team he's on, be it X-Men, Avengers, or wherever else have you, he's always been himself, you know? Now, himself being a person of conflict and being a person of some dark past and some, you know... a time or two, confidence mixed with some misery there, I believe would be the best way to describe it. He definitely still knows how to pull through and do what he's got to do. I mean, as he always says, he's the best there is at what he does, bub, you know? Yeah. And I love the audacity, I love the power behind him, because if you think about him compared to other superheroes, his power set isn't exactly... a great one compared to others, you know? Think about it. I mean, the Hulk can get almost infinitely more strong based on anger alone, you know? Thor is a god, you know? Wolverine has claws, and he can heal fast, and he can smell things. But he can still kick so much ass, and he still upholds himself, and he's still looked upon as one of the most fearsome and recognized and respectable heroes of the Marvel comic universe. And honestly, I loved him in the movies. Now, to which amount to which movie it's up for some topic of discussion. I mean, yeah.
Just really quick here. Wolverine Origins, I feel like is one you're referring to.
Yeah, definitely. That one was like,
Well, one thing about Origins, though, is that when I first saw that movie, I was really excited because a lot of what I referred to in my Wolverine description, as far as
got
his
it right.
background, well, no, the thing of it is that they started the movie off on the correct foot, and then and then they go into the war montage of him and Sabretooth. And that was great too. I really enjoyed that also, and also like the fact that they combined Victor Creed and Dog Logan into the same character because it makes sense to do so for the purpose of the movie. But then things quickly go off rail after that.
Right, very much so. And we end with this weird amalgam of a mixed up character who is supposedly Wade, quote unquote. Which I'm going to end it there.
Yeah, Deadpool, the Deadpool prototype. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, whatever the hell that is. But no, definitely. I enjoyed Hugh Jackman's performance in all of those, and it makes me sad knowing the end of Logan. For those of you who have not watched it, we won't talk about it in great detail, but it is powerful. It is still worth the watch. I mean, they do a great job in that movie alone of summarizing a lot of who the character was, of who Wolverine, how to best put this? Of what people saw him as versus what he was, and they do a fantastic job, almost an allegorical job, really, of summarizing that in the tale of the latest movie, Logan. Now, I know the news has been that is going to be Hugh's last performance as Wolverine. I refuse to believe that. I'm praying and hoping, people can make comebacks, damn it. And talking to you, Hugh. See, you're so good as Hugh, freaking Logan, dude. I keep getting you and freaking Logan confused, man. Come on, do one more movie, just one more.
Yeah, I think that Wolverine is a prime example of the character really driving forth the superpowers, not the superpowers driving forth the character.
Well put. Well daggum put. Very much so. But no, Logan, Wolverine, always been super awesome. Always been badass to me. Always been very much though a fictional character, a character nonetheless that I find to really help me with determination and, get shit done. Yes. Cool.
Yep.
And now your number one, mi amigo?
My number one actually wrote absolutely nothing on. And I forgot about that. My number one is actually none other than Batman.
Yo.
The man who I didn't feel the need to have to write anything on. My favorite comic book character of all time. The first superhero that I fell in love with, and he doesn't even have any superpowers. So, where to start? I mean, he's Batman.
I was about to say, enough said. Yeah. That's literally why I wrote down in my notes.
Open and shut case. It was created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger back in 1939. The original drawing by Bob Kane had him in a red suit with a cape, a domino mask, and blonde hair. Thankfully, Bill Finger was like, "Let me help you out here, bro," and he fixed it up and essentially created the character we know today. Not only is Batman one of the most compelling superheroes ever, but he has one of the best rogue galleries of all time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can reach into a hat and pull out any Batman villain, and you can spend hours reading and learning and watching that villain because it's that great. Batman's sense of justice, his sense of morality, and his origin is something that's all really, really fascinating to read about. Simply because he doesn't have superpowers, but he's fighting these superpower beings on a lot of occasions. The fact that he relies on his brain more than any other superpower means that oftentimes his comic book writers have to be more creative when they're writing for him, because they can't just rely on a power of the weak type deal to defeat the threat, but they have to rely on his intellect and on what he's able to do as a man. Of course, he's in peak physical condition. He has genius level intellect. He's as agile, or almost as agile, as you can get as a human. Only the person I can think of who's a human who's more agile is his first his first Robin, Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing. But the reason why Batman is so great is because, to me, he more than any other hero teaches that you don't let your limitations determine what you have to be or your lot in life.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, he really shows that, I mean, don't mean to sound corny, but I mean, if you really want to do something, then you go out and do it. And he stays focused and determined. There's a reason why Batman is one of the most profitable and popular comic book characters of all time. It's because he's amazing to read. Some people have the nerve to say that he's overrated. Like, the guy with no superpowers is overrated. That's interesting.
I know, right?
And Batman has always been and will always be my number one pick, because even in defeat, the man learns and he gets better. And I think there's a lot that we can learn from the character of Batman. That's my number one pick.
Amen. It's a damn good one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah, that was our...
That's our top 5.
That's our top 5, and some honorable mentions in there.
Yeah.
Please, any listeners, please free to email us at superherohomies.com or superherohomies@gmail.com.
There it is, yeah.
And email us, your personal list of top 5. Tell us what you like, what you didn't like, and we'll be sure to get back to you here on the podcast. But of course, as tradition goes, this podcast has been a little long, so really quick.
Yeah.
really quick, we're gonna go to the book known as The League of Regrettable Superheroes, and we're gonna give you guys something fun to go home to.
Oh yes, tonight's edition is going to be Miracle Man. Fantastic! Even I can't tell the difference. Created by Mick Anglo, he was debuted in his own self-titled comic, Miracle Man #1. Apparently, he has relatives: Captain Marvel, Marvel Man, Super Hombre, Miracle Man, and Miracle Man.
And when was he created?
Finding some time frames. Going. Interesting.
No creation date.
I'm looking for it. 1965. There it is. There.
I'm trying to think, because Captain Marvel was both a DC and Marvel hero.
Yep.
So I'm trying to think of which team is he affiliated with. But anyway, continue. It doesn't matter.
They actually mentioned that a little bit here. I'm skipping it here though. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, they're talking a lot about like the legality stuff, and I'd love to go into that later on. Holy crap! Okay, there's a lot of stuff about this dude. Actually, damn, we got a big one for tonight. So apparently, Miracle Man was created around the same time another superhero was called. This superhero, his counterpart, was called Super Hombre, which is literally Spanish for Superman. Right. And then that's the lawsuit I've been reading a lot about, because there's a huge lawsuit about that, actually. And of course, the lawsuit fell with the side of our Superman, the Man of Steel, and Super Hombre definitely had to, go through some changes. Trying to actually read about our boy Miracle Man and how he fits into that equation and why that even matters.
So Super Hombre, he's not Miracle Man. He's just an ally.
I'm trying to find it actually. Okay, you know what? Let's go back and actually just talk about who Miracle Man is. Let's see what this is.
In the future here, we may actually start doing more prep work on these.
Exactly, yeah, because this is a little bit of like, I'm learning on the spot. But I'm also just kind of like trying to read while talking to you guys on the spot, which I'm not great at. Okay, here it is. So, actually, okay. So, Mick Anglo created the original idea of Miracle Man through Super Hombre. But another creator, L. Miller, launched a, quote, suspiciously familiar character, end quote, using the name Marvel Man. And apparently he was drawn exactly the same way. Like, look, if you look at the picture, like, they look very similar.
Yeah.
Like, they both have, like, a black pullover mask over their heads. They both have some goggle eyepieces looking things. They both look bald in the masks. They're both wearing like dominantly red and yellow suits. Yeah, there's definitely some wait a minute going on here. Let's see. So apparently the superhero, the character, going into the detail himself, he was a newsboy named Mickey Moran. Very much based off of Captain Marvel's Billy Batson. And he would... oh my gosh. Oh, this pisses me off a little bit. Okay, so apparently he would transform into the superhero by shouting, not Shazam, but Kimota. Which I need to look up what the heck Kimota is. Maybe if you guys know, you can comment, please. But, yeah, no, apparently he's basically a mix of this super hombre who basically is a made-up Superman who... and it looks to me here that they have like a domino effect. It's basically like, oh, hey, this character pulls from this Superman and this Shazam and this and that person, and he's basically a super illegal superhero. Like, it looks like he ended because of lawsuits, actually. Like, the lawsuit almost killed him. Apparently, it wasn't quite the end. He tried one more time in 1965. Anglo, the guy who was trying to get away with this, he tried one more time in that year to debut the name Miracle Man, the Superman of Unlimited Power, his pseudo title. And then he changed his magic word to Sun Disk.
That's no better.
No, it really isn't. But basically, just shortly after that issue, the studio went empty, and no one continued the work of Miracle Man. So he was depressing, not because of lame superpowers or this or that. He was depressing because of copy to superpowers and legality issues.
Yeah. You know, I imagine in that time there were probably a lot of superheroes that were made super duper based off of other heroes that already existed.
Yeah.
But most of them, I imagine, didn't make it that far.
No. I mean, this... honestly, if you read what I read, he basically went through a number of different resurrections. They were trying so damn hard to get that hero out there.
I mean, I'm sure they saw like the popularity of Superman and thought and Captain Marvel. He was super popular at the time too. So they're probably like, let's jump on this hype train and get that money.
But no, like they literally came up with every creative spin off of that you could think of in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah,
and they were shot down for each of them. Yeah, but yeah, guys, that's tonight's show.
Yeah, we really hope you enjoyed this. Once again, if you have any questions, comments, gifts, threats, food, supplies, please hit us up at superherohomies@gmail.com. And we'll get back to you guys in a week here with another podcast. And once again, we're not 100% sure on the topic yet, but you can rest assured it'll be just as fun and entertaining as this one.
Amen. So, you guys take it easy and be sure to leave us some love.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.